Uh, Anthony, yeah, there we go. I just need to start the recording.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Um, Thanks for the staff who have helped put this together. I don't know if you all know this, but without staff, this is not possible. So I get to show up and pretend that I wrote this document and put it all together, but really I just say this is what I like to discuss. So thanks for the staff who puts this together, sends out the Microsoft Teams invite. So just thank y'all for that. It's really appreciated. Today, as you look at the agenda for the next 25 minutes, we're going to really talk about our current objectives, opportunities of the committee and its alignment, and what we're doing as a committee, talking about our roles and responsibilities, and then our workshop updates that we've been having with Kim, and then give you a time to have any questions or concerns. The reasoning for this is because, honestly, as we got new committee members, they asked, like, hey, what is the purpose of Foundation of Service? And I thought, that is a great question. So we brought that question back to the committee, and all of us kind of had different thoughts, ideas, historical perspectives, but nothing that we all thought, hey, we have to go forward this way. And so that led to us also bringing that up at our commission meeting, which led to us meeting with Kim as we were fleshing out that state service plan. So, for those who are just on board, for the foundation of service, it started off as we were focusing on youth because we considered that the foundation of the service, bringing them in, getting them ingrained to what service looks like and service learning. It was really beneficial as Betty was the chair and a part of the committee. Betty had a lot of input and insight from service learning from her previous employment role. As we are transitioning and making changes, we really want to take a step back and identify what does foundation of service mean to us now, where we are currently in this world and in the state. And I think we all made it very clear that we were willing and open to seeing different ideas of what we can do with this committee. So that's kind of what we've been working at behind the scenes from the information you all have provided. This information was provided through the assessment, for lack of a better term, the words. I don't know the specific name of the assessment, but I do know that LaShannon had provided a lot of valuable information through that previously, and then we resubmitted it and others added to that, which kind of gave us our North Star of where we wanted to go. We have taken that information and shared it with Kim Carpenter Davis, who is another commissioner on the board. And what we've used that with is to really dive out deeper into our definition of foundation of service. There is no solid definition just yet because we will not officially make that decision without your input. But we do have a little bit of starting understanding of where we're going. And what that looks like is really broadening out our scope from just focusing on youth, but still identifying service as a key part of our committee. And how do we do that? We're identifying areas that may not be in our scope of work. By scope of work, I mean in our area of expertise that we need to be focusing on, and how can we hand that off or collaborate with the other committees. And so, again, it is still a work in progress. Jim, I wanted to know if it's okay if we kind of gave them a brief definition of where we landed at the last meeting with Kim, and then just let them know that we're going to be diving deeper into that during our commission meeting.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. If you all give me 1 second to pull that up, I can get that to you. But as I pull that up, I want to know if there's any questions and also open space for LaShannon if she had any additional comments that she would like to add to the meetings that we've been having with Kim.
No additional comments, but just wanted to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share as a new member coming in. I was very curious as to, as you mentioned earlier, Destiny, to what this committee does, but then also as a volunteer Tennessee, what we're supposed to do as well. And so I'm very grateful that you all have been receptive to the feedback and the information that was shared as well.
Thanks, LaShannon. Appreciate that. I am unable to find the exact document, and that is simply because we have been doing some discussion on this individually, like looking at it ourselves. And so I want to make sure I pull up the exact information that gives you what you need. And by the way, the assessment that I was discussing with y'all is a theory of change. So we all completed the theory of change, or had a chance to complete the theory of change.
And Destiny, are you looking for the final document that came out of that last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. I just pulled that up. I can share it if you'd like.
Yes, if you could, that'd be so much appreciated.
Yeah. I think this is the one you're talking about.
Yes, this is the one. And then we did, excuse me. So we focused on our core areas of work, encouraging, celebrating, supporting volunteerism, building capacity, promoting volunteerism in our operations. And we really realized, again, some things are a part of our foundation of service and some things are not a part of our foundation of service. Jim, would you mind to scroll down just a little bit to see what's underneath of that? Okay, so
Yeah,
the
sorry,
notes.
that's the end of the document, just
Oh,
the next steps notes.
okay, perfect. So I think we kind of landed in encouraging, celebrating, and supporting volunteerism for foundation of service. And so essentials of volunteerism. So building, educating, supporting a robust network of volunteers in service learning, from youth to older Americans, from rural to urban communities, from corporations to individuals, and following awards. So that is number one. That is kind of where we are leaning towards for foundation of service. What that does is allow us to broaden, but also structure and put ourselves in guide rails of what we do on the foundation of service team. So really our area is to build, educate, and support volunteers and service learners. But we wanted to broaden it a little bit and reach out to more than just youth, because as we discussed previously, is that we are in a generation where people are retiring and they're looking for ways to give back to their communities. Or they may not be able to fully retire, but they might want to move into another service area instead of maybe corporate America and what that looks like. And so we want to focus from rural to urban communities. So we don't want to focus solely on one and give only resources for one, simply because volunteering could look different at the end of the day, depending on if you're trying to volunteer in rural America or urban America. So as we provide opportunities, we want to provide some for both to make sure we reach everyone. And then also including corporations, because corporations are a huge part of volunteerism. You all know that everyone's always trying to figure out how can they do their service. And that's actually something that Volunteer Tennessee is working on as well, additionally. And then individuals, again, those one-offs who are just passionate about serving and looking for something to do in their community. So as you read number one, I know that's a lot to process, but I want you to take that in. And we can circle back to that if there's no additional questions on this right now, because you need some time to think that over. I know that was a lot. I've been looking at this for a while, so it seems simple to me. But I do want to give you your space to mull that over. All right, Jim, thank you for sharing that. And again, there is no expectations for you to have questions or concerns. That's really was just an overview and an update. If you hadn't been aware or been able to rewatch the recordings that we have or anything like that, and that's going to prep you for our next board meeting. Please come ready with thoughts, questions that will help us move forward with what we're going to do in the state service plan. Again, on the agenda, Anthony, would you mind to put that one back up for me? Appreciate you. Those are where we are with that service, with that foundation of service. Once we have that definition, again, that will impact how we move forward with our service plan. And then for those who are new to the committee or the board in general, our state service plan is our North Star, is our guiding factor to our North Star for the remainder of the 4 years. And then we break it down year by year. And so that's why this is really important that we get this down, because this is what we're going to be focusing on for the next 4 years if we have an opportunity to do so. So again, before we move on, I know we're a bit early, Are there any questions immediately that we have?
Destiny, as you were talking about build, educate, and support, and two, just trying trying to remember what that is. I love a good acronym because that's what we do in TDH is we make everything acronyms. It's really best. If we look at it, build, educate, support in Tennessee. So that acronym is best. So we're doing our best to serve our citizens of Tennessee.
Oh, okay, LaShawn, listen, that is good. I was processing information still, and you done came out with the whole acronym. That's really good. So what I hear is LaShawn has solidified we are sticking to this because we now have an acronym that can move forward with it. All right, thanks, LaShawn. Okay, with that in mind, that we're doing our best for Tennessee, let's dive into our award of excellence. So that is something that we also addressed in our last committee meeting. For those who are new to, again, this committee, that is another area that we focus on, the awards of excellence. And the short version of that is we are giving awards to people who are doing excellent work in service projects, service learning. There is some difficulty in that, right? Because that requires them to fill out an application. The barriers could be people don't feel like what they're doing may be considered excellence, people don't have the time, or people may not know how to do it. And you may think, well, we can do workshops. We have done workshops and they have been beneficial, but sometimes it's hard to get people to be able to come to those workshops just depending on time commitment, other duties assigned. Let's be honest, a lot of youth who are doing things are doing 10,000 other things on top of what they're doing. The bar was already high when we were in high school, it's even higher now. Um, and let's be honest, just the world is heavy. And so to find opportunities and time, mental capacity, not just physical capacity, but the mental capacity to fill out an application can be a little tedious for people. And so though we know that we offer great things, we're also looking at, okay, how do we offer it in a way that's even better? How can we as a committee support the staff to do what they need to do to be able to reach out to those who we want to recognize for their service and the great work that they're doing within the state. And so,
Actually, that gives me an idea. As you're talking about that, I like because I thought, well, you could always partner with a lot with libraries, but what if you were to take this to schools? Like, what if you were to have while students are like at some point within the school system, like while the school year's going, you provide applications and you provide that information in the school.
yeah,
If
I
that
think
makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense. I think that's a great idea. I really do. Um, and I think from a staff capacity, I think it's a very small team. So I don't know if staff can do it, but I can see opportunities whereas like we use other organizations. I always throw out 4-H because they're already in 95 counties, of maybe reaching out to them and providing them with some resources that they could possibly bring to the school. I don't know what that collaboration could look like. I think that's a great idea that we can keep in like a brainstorm bubble of like, okay, if we did this, what are the resources available for us to do this? I just know it's really difficult to get into schools specifically with the time commitment it takes of our staff, but also the teachers having to have that time for any curriculum development that they must be doing.
Right.
And
So for example, oh sorry, like Nashville has their academies. So
Mhm.
instead of just having Tennessee, like the staff, you could train volunteers and then maybe through academies or different things, that's how you get the information out to people so that you're not just having to depend on the small staff or any of that stuff. So it can be worked out, but that's what comes to mind. I used to work in a school, and so it's kind of more of just the more collaboration you have in that way, the less like the more hands, like yeah, more hands make light work, all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a great idea. We'll just need to find volunteers who are already in the schools. Just the school systems are really hard to, which is very understandable. They love their students. They're not going to just let you or I, even though we're highly qualified people who worked in schools to be there. So I'm just curious on what that process would look like. So I think we can definitely take that if you want to. I'm not saying contact any school or anything like that, but think of all the pros and cons possibilities of what that would look like. I think it'd be something that we could definitely bring back to the table.
Mhm.
If are you able to do that? Would you be willing to flesh that out a little?
I mean, I can research which metro schools have academies, and like there's the nonprofit community in schools,
Yeah,
and
if you
so
could.
it's contacting and seeing how they can help in whatever way.
Yeah, I think that if you could provide a list of people who would be a good source for us to contact to figure out how we could collaborate with them to get
Mhm.
in schools, that'd be beneficial. I wouldn't call them, but I would
Oh,
just see what's available.
yeah.
Just we don't want to give false hope. And then see what the possibility and realisticness of that could be.
Mhm.
That'd be great. So if we could have that, um, obviously not by our next board meeting, but our next committee meeting, which will be in a couple months, I can I can give you a specific date after this meeting if that works for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
That's a really good idea. Any other ideas that come top of mind before we continue discussion on ALE? Awesome. So on here we say 3 months out from the 25-26 school year start. And that's when we start sharing information about the awards. However, I think for this discussion, I know on another board that I get to serve on, we're more of a governance board and less of an operations board. And so what that means is that we govern what happens, and our staff is the one who's in there doing the operations day to day. And I kind of feel like that's what we do here. And so for us to be able to do our job well as a board member, we always seek the input of our staff because we don't know because we're not in the role. And so I don't want to put you, Candace, or Anthony on the spot, but I would love to know what your vision is, like, and what your ideal timeline, your vision, what this would look like, and how we could support you to get to where you need to go. Again, because you all know your internal bandwidth and capacity and what happens to put this award ceremony together. And so I think it would give us an idea of how we can support you in those efforts.
I'll go ahead and jump in first. Good morning, everybody. So, I think with Award of Excellence, it's an ever-growing ceremony, right? Like every year, we just want to try to grow it as much as possible, and I think that has a couple of different pockets. But if we're starting from the beginning, it's the truth. Let me just lay some truths out. Like, we have the same schools that submit an application every year. We have, we sort of have the same audience that we're getting to every single year from the different modalities how we reach them, right? From emails to newsletters to social media. But from the past couple of years that I've been here, I would love a wish list of mine would love to see that grow on who we're actually reaching versus those so that we could increase it. So the same schools, of course, they're always welcome to apply, but how do we reach a grander audience? So that would probably be some of my first wish list of items. And I know that and I'll just say this one and then I'll stop for um, comment. But I know that last season of Award of Excellence, we talked about also expanding the Award of Excellence to maybe groups that support children. I was talking to Anthony about this yesterday, just kind of as an example. Boys and Girls Club deal with kids and boys and girls in school, but is there something that we would want to um, expand to different groups that are volunteer groups that involve children that are in this age range? So just thinking of a couple of ways that we can make the actual Award of Excellence bigger, just kind of get the word out there. And a couple of those things before we actually move to the ceremony itself. But just off the top of the dome, those are probably a couple of things. That one thing that is my wish list, and something else that we discussed before the end of the Award of Excellence season for this past year. So just kind of throwing that out there.
If there's also some opportunity to connect with Department of Ed, I know we had Taylor Rayfield this past year. He wasn't able to make the ceremony, but he did. He was interested in kind of connecting with us as well.
For the past couple of years, the Department of Education has actually agreed, even though he wasn't able to this year, but they've agreed to come to the ceremony, to be a part of the ceremony, which is, which is an excellent first start. But how do we expand that? What does this look like? I don't want to say, let's get a side committee going and see what we can do. I don't know if that's the answer, but just what does, because this is such a great program. So how do we get it to the ears of the people who, like you were mentioning earlier, Destiny, that are out here doing the work and may not know if and they just need that opportunity to get their work out there and to connect. And I think that it also, with this, it connects to a couple of different avenues as far as the student track, which isn't this discussion, but it just has the possibility to connect. So, you know, do we keep Award of Excellence how it is until we get it seamless, or do we start go ahead and adding those small layers to the Award of Excellence to make it bigger year after year?
Thank you both. So what I'm hearing is that if we could spread the word about the awards, that's like your biggest wish list right now, is to get the word out, and through that word out, collaborating with education. Did I comprehend that?
Yes. And yes.
Yes. Okay. So just hearing you say that, I don't know if you all know this, but routinely, I don't know how often, education meets with the superintendents across the state. Sometimes it's in person, sometimes it's virtually. They have a really high level individual who is all hands on deck. She's like the utility player for their department. Um, and she would be a great resource to be connected with on how you can attend those superintendent meetings. Because from what I'm hearing is maybe if we could reach out to the superintendents and bring them awareness of it, they can then level up and share that. And it could go back to what Patty had said about getting into those schools, is if they're aware of it, you can give them a way to contact you. If we already have that list from Patty of who we can get, what agencies, not agencies, I'm sorry, what schools, not universities, what schools can you contact, that can help you network a little bit better, specifically knowing who's in the room and how you need to build those networking opportunities. And so I could see some use out of that. Is that beneficial for you as a first start?
The superintendents is an excellent first start because there's no way that any of us can reach every school, right? Like it's just not, it's just not, I'm not going to say it's not possible, but we don't have enough boots on the ground to reach every school with the volunteer presence in every school. Not on April 23rd of 2025, right? So,
Yeah.
so like I said, just coming up with those strategic and intentional spaces. It can be something as small as the superintendents just sharing the information with their monthly emails, but I don't want to speak for them and say that because I don't know what every superintendent resources have, right? But I think that would be a great start.
Okay, so after this meeting, what I can do is I can send you the contact information of the individual that comes to my mind.
Okay.
In committee, this is a question. This is not me deciding for us as a committee. I think it'd be a great idea, not a question, a statement of if you all could connect and maybe virtually or meet those in the superintendents. And then when it comes time, so well in advance, explain to them what we do for Volunteer Tennessee and the opportunity for their school, for AOE in advance. And then when it comes time, the 3 months out that you all decide to share those applications, you then build that email list and include all of them and ask them and share that information with them um, about how they can sign up or what their school needs to do X, Y, and Z. I think that might be a good leeway, and that allows you to get involved with everyone across the state and not just in Middle Tennessee, which is obviously so much easier for us as we're headquartered in Nashville, right? But what about those in Upper East or far west? And so that might be a good way for you all. Committee, I don't know what you feel about that. if that's a good go ahead, a direction we would like to see happen. LaShan's in. Karen, Patty, y'all have thoughts? When I hear no disagreement, I just assume people think I'm right, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, I think you're right, Destiny.
Okay. All right. So if that works for you all, I think that that might be a good starting for AOEs. I also would love, Candace, if you can share with us again the packet that you all send out regarding AOE, the entire packet. I think every year we say we need more information, we need this, we need that. And so I would just love to see what that is, because if anybody has any insight on that, like, oh, maybe we can only send one, like maybe that might be more digestible for new people. You know what I mean? Like something like that. I would just love to see what that packet is. You share it with us every year because you share it with us to share with other people, right?
Yeah, it's really not a packet per
Mhm.
se. It's more of the link with that, just sort of takes you back to the website to give you an overview of what
Mhm.
Award of Excellence is. And just talking points like emails and things like that. So I don't want to get everybody's expectations up that it's a packet, but hearing you say that, maybe that is something that we need. It's just like a cute little one sheeter that, that just sort of gives it. But the thought process behind it over the past couple of years is just to drive people to our website to get them more engaged with what all the initiatives and what everything is that's going on with Award of Excellence, and not just sort of bog them down with packets and one sheeters. They can just go to the website, see what it is, submit the application.
Yeah.
So I'm open to, if you guys think that and I know that we're using packet loosely. Packet could mean one sheet or three sheets, right? But if guys think that a packet is better served, then I'm open to receive that. It's just that we just didn't want to get into the another attachment and something else that I have to keep up with, and just sort of make sure that people are funneling towards the website.
Yeah. I
But I
think
don't know. What you think?
I'm gonna speak first, y'all, and it's not because I think I own the space. Simply, I know for me, I hate a packet. Don't send me 3-4 pages. But if you send me a good one pager, I love a good one pager. Tell me what I need to know, where I need to know it, and if it's attached, it makes it easier for me. Because what I don't like to do is have to then go to another website and then divvy out where I need to go. Just tell me what I need, where I need it. It's just I don't. Not that I don't think things are important, but I don't always have the time to dive into something deep. But if you give me a one pager, tell me what I need to do, how I need to get there, what my
Right.
takeaway is.
And that's kind of the thought process that we were thinking about, Destiny. Just like, if we keep it in the email, keep it short, or keep it on the website, that it's less confusion with things. So I see in the chat that Shan agrees. Okay. Master
Karen
Sergeant
also
Karen.
Yeah.
But I just think that, and then like I said, it makes the information easier to also send off to people. So
So yeah, I just still think a one pager would be great if we could one page
okay.
something as an attachment, because I see multiple areas of that. That one pager can be something we can print and hand out in the community. We can give to folks, as not everybody is on the internet like we would love. There are some people who
That
still
we love to think, yeah.
will rock with a one pager. You know what I mean? So if we can do a one pager, put it as an attachment, and then keep the email too. So because
Mhm.
even if it's in the email, when a superintendent or the point of contact has it, they can go right on ahead and forward that email.
Okay.
And from my personal experiences, both of them work well, because when teachers get that, right, they might print off that one pager because they can't send that email to parents, but they can
Mm,
print that one pager, send it home with the kids, throw it in the backpack, call it a day. But Billy and Sally might not get that email to mom and dad. Does that make sense?
it does. It does. It does.
Sorry, Patty, I
And
see you come off mute too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it also depends on what's on the one pager or whatever you put out, because depending on well, I don't know how disabilities or any of that stuff would go into it, but it's like, well, like, so for example, I'm not on social media really. Like, I have some pages, but I think that's where the best thing to do is always like, which is kind of funny for me to say because I'm not a huge technology person, but that's where you have the QR code stuff to where
Mm.
it's like you just put a QR code and that whatever information you need, put that attached to that link. And then that way, whatever you put in the thing, you make it as simple as possible. So that way you're not overloading people with information. They know exactly what you want them to do. And so depending on how, like, because you don't ever want anything sensory overload. And that's what a lot of what it sounds like write-ups or different things. And so it all just depends on what you want to have on or included in the packet and how you want that information to be presented.
I hear you, Patricia, and I hear you because we also want to make sure that we meet everybody. What I'm hearing is that we want to meet everybody where they are to make sure that they have access to it, right? Everybody may
Yeah.
not be social media, but everybody has a cell phone. People that, may want to print things out. So just being prepared to make sure that everybody has, can have the information at their fingertips. So I appreciate
Yeah.
your input. Thank you.
Yep.
Gary Silver for the superintendent directory that you put in the chat. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all. And then let me know this. This is I don't know. Is there I know we do workshops on how to complete the award, the applications. Is that recorded and online?
So we don't do workshops.
Oh, I thought we had a
Um,
workshop. Okay.
if people wanted to meet with me specifically or if they had questions, I'm always available. But like a one-stop shop for work, like for that working, like that work group on virtual, I personally have never done it. Now, I have to refer to Jim to know if it's been done like in the past, but I think so. But that is something to consider. I know that we had talked about it, just to sort of go over the I know Miss Betty had mentioned, maybe inviting one of our schools that has won before to come and, just sort of talk about it. But we never really fleshed out the idea of, is it better to just record something, which I think it is, or if it's better to host like a Destiny, your pixelation on your picture is kind of it's throwing me off. But because anyway, if it's better to just record something, or if it's better to have a live virtual meeting to answer the questions. So that's something that we can throw on the table as well. But I've personally never done a workshop for Award of Excellence.
Okay. Terry, I saw your hand raised.
Well, I'd like to bounce off of what Candace said. I was honored to be able to speak briefly with the honorees that were awarded at our last conference. And I remember the one guy, I can't remember his name, but I can go look back and see. But he was so excited about what his school had done and so energetic talking about it, describing some of the things that had happened. So whether we do it, with a video or, in person, I think that stories always touch people and are meaningful and continue to reach well beyond when they're told.
That's good insight too, Terry. So I have a question then. I'm about to drop a link to a fellowship FAQs that we have. At the bottom, there is a presentation, right, where we do an overview of what this program is. And so I was just curious if it'd be possible for us to do both. So maybe do a virtual space where you invite the attendees who have won, do a little interview with them, record this, like how we're recording this meeting, ask them those questions. Terry allowed them to share their story, what they learned from it, et cetera, for the first 5 to 10 minutes. So people can get an overview of what it was. The next 20 minutes, walking people through what should be on the application. And so that way it's always on the website. And so people can continue, go back to that. Because for me, I'm a 2 a.m. kind of girly. I'm going to do something at 2 a.m. Then I should be sleeping and I'm procrastinating. What else I need to be doing. And so that gives someone opportunity to always fill out the application because Candace, I'm sure you don't want a 2 a.m. call about how do I fill out this application. and it just gives people a chance to refer to it and constantly going back. Also, I know this might be a little cringy. Not everyone loves getting on a phone call or sending an email. And so if they can omit that extra step, they have all the resources they need. But also you're giving a chance to highlight the winners again and the success that they've had in representing their school. Also, I'm looking at it from a marketing standpoint as well. If you let Billy Joe do an interview and then send it back out, like say, oh, Billy, this is, whatever, he can then share that on his social media. Their schools will share it, and then more people become involved. So it's a 2-in-1 kind of situation. We're highlighting their success, we're allowing them to share their success, and then we're also sharing it as an encouragement for other people to be a part of the success. After that interview of the 10 minutes overview of what's great about this, we give an overview of how to fill out the application. What are we asking for in this? Because some of this information may be difficult for people to understand. Again, if we're in this, it's simple. If we're not, it might be like, well, what are you asking me? Why do I need to do this? Question A may be redundant to question B, but actually internally we're looking for something different. This is why we care about this. So I would just see if that's an opportunity for us.
I
And I
agree.
just, I put into the chat window, we're talking about this road show. And it just came to me that when we're in the county of previous awardees, we could invite them to be a part of the road show and maybe share their story from wherever we're planning to stop and have, a meeting or I don't know what we're going to call it, a summit, whatever, but we could include it in the road show.
Yeah. And team, I know I've been talking a lot. So if anyone else has any additional things, I know Patty, you got to share. Major Sergeant Karen has got to share. LaShann, you shared a little bit too, but if you all want to add more to it, please do. Candace, you can go ahead. Y'all never have to raise your hand.
I was just trying to be polite, I
I
didn't want to skip
appreciate
in
it.
front of them. Just a question, and if we're okay with the questions, then that's fine. But I know we reevaluated the questions like a year or two ago. But before I move forward with this, I just want to make sure that we're all okay with the questionnaire.
And for clarification, for those who are new, when you say questionnaire, you mean the questions in the application?
Oh, sorry. Yes, the application.
Okay. This is a legitimate question. Who on this committee has actually seen this application? Besides myself, that's here right now.
LaShann, I think that's it. That is present on this call today.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, LaShann, what'd you say?
Yes, as I was saying, I have.
Okay. I asked that because Candace, would you mind to send that application back out again for everyone to have their eyes on it before we confirm?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then can you give us a date on when you would like our response?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can also include an overview of what you hope to get out of that application. Like, these are the reasons why we asked this question.
Gosh, Destiny, one more thing. No, I got
Thank you. I just want people to have
a
very clear understanding of why the questions are what they are.
No, I got you.
This is the outcome of that we hope to get from this application. Because some people might have better questions to ask, and that would be awesome if they can think of something awesome.
Nope, I got you.
Thank you.
I'll send that over after the meeting today. Do you want to send it out with your recap of the meeting, or do you want me to just send it to everybody or Anthony?
We can send it in one email. So whenever you just get it, we'll send the recap of the email. We'll limit emails and do it all at the same time.
Okay, I got you.
Thank you.
That was You're welcome.
Staff, is there anything else for the AOE that we would like to discuss right now that can help you? I know it seems crazy because it's only April, but before time comes, it's time to start all over again. So I just want to make sure we're supporting you in the ways that we can at the moment.
I think that wraps up what we can do, for now, between now and like the board meeting and our next committee meeting. I think that that's all for me.
Okay. It's perfect. So what I'm hearing our takeaways are for our committee members, y'all, what we need to do is review this application and provide Candace feedback on these questions by the date that she assigns us. And then from staff, if you can send out those application questions for us to review, I will also, we also as a committee would expect that once we have those questions answered for you, like, yes, go for it with that, you all would then schedule a time to do some kind of virtual situation that can be recorded with winners of the awards, give them an overview, an interview for 10, however many minutes you all feel that works for you, and then give an overview on how to complete the application. That could go live on the website and can be shared out. The link can be shared out for people to watch at all times.
No, heard. And since, if we could use the help with anybody who is communication savvy, that is able to, put together, if you guys are good in Canva or putting things together, while we are in process of finding our new professional to join us, that would help, because I am pretty good, but I'm not that good at putting together videos. So it would be helpful if anybody would like to work on that particular project with me, to make sure that, we can do it, then that would be helpful.
Before I volunteer, is anyone else interested?
And we can put this out to the group as well, right? Because this isn't the entire sample, unless you want to help me.
I do make videos, but I want to make sure no one else in this group would like to take on something.
I'm not volunteering for it because the video thing is not my thing. But I don't know if you've seen that Canva actually came out with a new, what was it, like Canva 2.0 or something? They had a whole launch reveal, and that may actually be helpful. Like, I don't know how it is for making videos on there, but it may actually make things easier, possibly because it's supposed to be all in one place now and all that. You have to just click on like a banner or something to finally get the whole thing, but it may make creating videos easier for you, is what I'm saying. All of that. So
we gonna try and figure this out.
yeah, no, I'm just giving you the FYI because I had signed up for
it.
this big launch, and apparently it was more of all these people who use Canva. They had all these wishes, and so they wanted to respond to the wishes, and so it was basically putting all the little applications all in one place. So yeah, you'll see when you go on there if you get to that point. That was it.
Thanks, Patty. That's really good information. Anyone else had anything to add regarding the video? All right, Candace, it's you and I, seems. So I already
All right.
What we can do, we want to connect offline about what that looks like, realistically, a time frame that you can get that set up. I know it's final time for students. I know it's about to go in summer. You got to get a hold of folk. So realistically, if you and I can connect after this meeting, if you wouldn't mind to send me some optional dates for you, I will flex towards what your availability is, and what that looks like.
Okay.
And then we can connect and I can give you all the steps on how we can make this video happen. It doesn't need to be the next
Academy Award,
yeah,
like the next Oscar Wilde.
It's not a $90 million video, right? We just need
it might be.
I mean, we're great, but I'm not knocking us. But we'll see. And then we can get that off the tracks and get that going. The goal is really to just give us realistic, low-hanging things that we can accomplish. And I think all these are very realistic right now.
I agree.
And then also, team, I will follow up with notes from this meeting. I also know that Terry gets the AI recording, so that's very helpful. Anthony's behind the scenes taking notes as well. So we have a dream team right now, what we're going to be doing in this committee.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you all. Thank you.
So that's where we're going and moving forward with AOE. I I do want to remind us that we have our next commission meeting on May 2nd. I actually will not be in attendance during that. That is actually prime time right now for my department and what I do. So I will not be there in person. But you all have had an inside overview at this committee meeting of what we're doing with the state service plan. And so I don't think you have any additional questions for me. I also know I'm not the end all be all. LaShann was also a part of the committee, the conversation. So you can ask LaShann. Jim is there. Anthony's there, et cetera, et cetera. But I did just want to make y'all aware that I will not be there. And then give you all space as set on the agenda for the last 10 minutes for any questions that you may have regarding the future of this committee and anything that we just discussed. Jim, you have anything for us?
No, I don't think so. I think it's been a really good discussion.
Ooh. All right, friends. Oh, sorry, Terry. You got something?
Yeah, I do. And thank you, Destiny. You've done such an amazing job leading this discussion. A really good discussion. But I do want to ask everyone to make sure you read over the documents that come out before our next meeting, our commission meeting. A particular, I'd really love everyone to read over the MOU and give me some input. We're going to talk about that at our meeting. And I can really use the input of each and every one of you as to where we go in the direction of this MOU. So thank you for letting me say that.
Appreciate it. Also, Terry, I may not be there for that discussion. So if you want to connect before, we definitely
Absolutely. Oh, I'd love to.
can. Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. You're welcome. Anyone else for the betterment of the group? I don't believe in holding people just to make the time. Okay, friends. Well, y'all have a blessed day. It's been great. I hope you all are just as excited about what's to come for AOE. And then Candace, I'll follow up with you and Anthony regarding the point of contact at education.
All right, that sounds good. Thank
All right.
you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.